Good evening. My name's Casey Mueller. I'm a senior in the ATPI program at the University of North Texas. Today, I'm going to give you guys a little presentation on how to talk to everyone. Communication, right? Who here talks to people on a daily basis? You do, yes ma'am. Okay, now do you converse with just other Caucasian females in their, how old are you, ma'am?
27.
Okay, in their late 20s to early 30s, or do you talk to people of different cultures? Do you talk to men?
Yes.
Okay, so really you communicate with a diverse audience on a daily basis, much like the rest of us do. We live in a diverse country. We're going to come into different ethnic groups, and as we enter the workforce here, hopefully soon, we're going to be dealing with people that are of not only different genders, but different cultures outside of the United States. And then another type of culture would be different generations in a work environment, not just in hey, it's Thanksgiving and I'm going to go talk to grandpa. You know, we're going to be talking to people from different cultures, different ethnic groups, different parts of the world. The world is getting smaller. So let's go ahead and begin our journey here. The first thing we'd go into is men. All right, men make up 52.4% of the United States workforce. All right, so men, whenever men talk, they like to give information or report information. Men talk in order to, hey, this is what's going on. Hey, thanks for that information. That's it. We want to talk about things. So, when was the last time you saw a group of guys talking?
Earlier today.
Earlier today. Okay. Now, what was that group of guys talking about?
The events in Boston.
Okay, so they were talking about the current events.
Yes.
Okay. So, men talk about things. Men talk about sports. Okay, current events, politics, the weather. They never, ever, ever talk. Not going to say never say never, but very rarely do they talk about people, relationships. They talk about things. It's two people conversing about the sports scores, what happened at the 6 o'clock news. Okay, that's what men talk about. They also body language. Men are much more open when they're sitting down. If you think about last time you were at a bar, okay, and you saw a group of guys, they're all sitting at angles to each other. Right, conversing, but they're all constantly like, they talk, look at their friend, and then look about the room, and they're always at an open angle to everything else. That's just, men constantly are gathering information from their surroundings, and they're very open in how they sit. Sit kind of like that, you know, especially American males, they're wide open, very approachable. It's a very male characteristic of communication. Men are more assertive. Men, when we gather our information from talking, we process it and figure out how to solve a problem. So in a business environment, men are going to instantly start doing things. They're going to get the information now, hey, you do this, hey, you do this, let's get this done. Okay? Men want to think. Think about, men want to gather information, process it, and spit out a solution to that problem. That's how men generally think about things when they're communicating. Okay. So women, on the other hand, women make up a huge part of the workforce, 47.6%, and that's growing every day. We're seeing more women in higher upper level management positions, senior level management positions. Hewlett Packard CEO is a woman. So women are in the workforce, and they're going to be there to stay. So women talk to gain information, and they talk to form relationships. So women gain their information through relationship building. They talk about people. So, ma'am, when was the last time you had a conversation or heard a conversation among a group of women?
Yesterday.
Okay, and what was the topic of that conversation?
The topic of the conversation was just ideas about how to wean children off the bottle.
Okay, so you were talking about your kids and how to do something specific with the kids, but you were talking about how each other do it. Hey, what works for you? Hey, what works for
That's
you?
most of our conversations.
Okay, so you're talking about people, and what? Think about how women buy a car, right? So, have you bought a car recently?
Yes.
Okay, so did you go and talk to your friends first as soon as you saw a car that kind of interested you, and go, hey, what do you think of this car?
Yes.
And did you use your friends to gather ideas about what kind of cars to buy?
Yes.
That's a very female characteristic. Men want to go on the internet, they want to go to Edmunds.com, gather all the information they can, go test drive some, boom, boom, 2 days, done, you have a car. Women talk to their friends. Well, let me see what kind of car my friends bought. Let me see what kind of car, Nicole recommends. And they use that to make their decisions versus just raw numbers and information. They go off of their feeling, more of just facts. Nothing wrong with it. They're more cooperative. Women do very well in a business environment in groups. If there's a group project that needs to get done, women are extremely good in that situation because it's all about building relationships with the other group members and then using those group members and together as a group form a solution to that problem. Okay, that's a very female way to do it. They want to feel. Women want to feel out solutions, make sure other people feel good. Body language wise, women are very closed off, especially when they're sitting down. Think about how women sit. They sit with their knees together, feet drawn in, sometimes to the side, and their hands sometimes across their chest, sometimes out. That's a very unopened position. It makes them very unapproachable. So body language gives a lot. And I understand that there's some fashion reasons behind that, but still, keep in mind, these are generalizations. So body language tells us a lot, and that's how we communicate the most, okay? So the cross-generational workplace. Currently there's 4 different generations in the workforce, and by 2020 there'll be 5 different generations in the workforce, and this will be the first time that we would have seen this happen. Now, we chalk this up to people are living and working longer. 60 used to be the retirement age, now it's 65. People are working well past 65 now into their 70s because people are living longer. The average lifespan in the United States is 76, and that's going up every year. Okay, people in 1934, when we came up with Social Security, the average lifespan was to age 60. So you got paid out Social Security at age 62. Not anymore. Now everybody lives past 60. You can almost guarantee yourself, due to medical science, as long as you take care of yourself, eat healthy, exercise, you're going to live a long, healthy life. Okay? But that also means that you need to work longer in order to continue to have income for your long, healthy life that you're having. So different workforce behaviors, types of motivation, and needed tools and practices are for each different generation. So each generation is formed, and the way they see the world has been affected based on historical, the environment that they grew up in. Okay, and that shapes our values, and that shapes how we see the world. And there's nothing wrong with it, and every generation says, kids today, they don't know what it's like to be, to have tough times. I guarantee you they have been, you could go back to, 2 AD, and they'd be saying, kids today, they don't know what it's like to have hard times. That's something every generation says about the other one. So the 4 generations currently in the workforce are the greatest generation and boomers, Generation X, and the millennials. So the greatest generation, they were all born between 1922 and 1945. They're silent, they're veterans. A lot of them are veterans of either World War II or Korea. They're traditionalists. They used rotary phones, and their primary media outlet was radio. They saw the birth of television, and They have a huge respect for authority, and they have usually single employer careers. These are the guys that are the quarter century club members, the half century members, because they've been at the one company their entire career. They're very loyal. Like my granddad is part of the greatest generation. He's a veteran, served in the Navy in the 50s. He was at Morton Salt for over 50 years. He is very loyal to that company. And that's just how the greatest generation sees it. They went through World War II in Korea. That was their, and along with the earlier part of their generation, they've lived through the Great Depression. So that shaped the way that they see their worldview and the way that they see the how to work in a business environment. Baby boomers, born between 1946 and 1964, they value optimism and involvement. So these are the people that saw all of the world was at their fingertips because we just killed the Nazis and beat everybody, and now we have all these great technologies and the war is over. They're very optimistic about their lives. They're very involved in everything. Okay, they don't want to just live on the farm anymore. They were the first ones to grow up watching television, grow up listening to the radio, being able to have touch-tone phones was the big invention of their time. High value is placed on the team. Teamwork is extremely important to baby boomers. That anytime you need me, I'll pick up the phone because that's what the team needs, and that's the way we see the world as baby boomers. The big defining moment of the baby boomer generation, Vietnam. Vietnam in the 1960s really shaped their worldview. But moving on from them, we have Generation X and Millennials. So Generation X, and these are rough numbers, they're not exact. They're born between 1964 and 1980. They have a lot of skepticism. Okay, they've seen a lot of, Enron. They've seen companies and all of the very public negative news that comes with certain company scandals. So they've seen all that. So they're very skeptical of big corporations. They're very informal. They're not about, this is the grunge generation. They don't want to have to wear a shirt and tie. They built Yahoo, and these are all of our computer, startup nerds. So they're the ones wearing, just polo shirt, jeans. They saw the rise of cell phones, but they also saw their parents, who were part of the baby boomers, working all the time to try and get more money. Hey, call me anytime. I'm part of the group. This is important to me. And they saw the rise of the split household and divorces. So they're very, very keen on a strict work and home separation. They don't want, after 5 o'clock, you do not call me because my personal time is very important to me. That's a very key thing for Generation X. So then you have the Millennials, which is my generation. We were born between 1981 and 2000. So really it's all the people that came of age during the turn of the century, which is the turn of the millennium as well. We're realists, we're confident in ourselves, but we don't think anybody, millennials don't think anybody is going to help them. They don't think a company is going to reward them for being loyal to that company. They see it as, hey, this company is going to kick me to the curb as soon as they need to cut some of their budget. They've seen the massive layoffs of the late 1990s, early 2000s with the dot-com bust. They've seen the Great Recession of 2008. So we have smartphones. Millennials were the first group that, hey, I can pick up my phone and I can access the known knowledge of the entire human race in my phone. And that is how millennials were brought up. Millennials were the first tech-savvy generation. It got developed under Generation X, but millennials, for the most part, for most of our adult lives, have always had the internet. And they've always had smartphones, and they've always had email. And millennials are very comfortable with that, and have no problem being that way. So multicultural communication is the next up-and-coming thing. The world, because of all these advances in technology, is getting smaller. So you're going to have multicultural teams that you're going to be working in at some of these bigger corporations. HP, Dell, these are all corporations that Merrill Lynch has offices in Hong Kong, London, Berlin, New York, Chicago, and LA. So you're going to be working in multicultural teams, and you're going to be dealing with people from other cultures. So Middle East and Latin America, they're very interdependent. So they value the group and the core collective betterment of the company. Their time is more flexible. Time is more of a guideline. If they say 2, they could get there at 2:30, could get there at 1:45. It doesn't really matter. It's more of a general measurement. They're very high context. What a high context means is that what they say isn't always what they mean. They could say something and then you have to deduce what's going on from that. They value family, very highly value of the family. So a lot of the businesses is who you know. So, oh, my dad is the president of this company, so my son is going to inherit this company. And it goes on like that very much. So, and they also value the relationship building. So that kind of spins off of their value on family. Cultures from the Middle East and Latin America, especially in a business context, they focus extremely high on relationship building. Asia is another interdependent high context culture. They value age and experience. So they always, the Japanese come to the top of my head. They value the wisdom that comes with having been around for a while, and with age comes the respect and positions. You're never going to see a brand new young guy in a management position above somebody. A baby boomer or a Gen Xer is not going to be above a member of the greatest generation in Asia. Titles are highly regarded. In the United States, we can call the president of a company just Mr. Jones. In Japan or China, that's not going to happen. They want to be known by their title. And another big part of kind of the high context, Japan especially, yes or hi does not always mean yes. There might be saying yes to save face for you so that you don't have the embarrassment of being told no right up in front. Okay. Europe, Europeans value the individual. They're very low context. What a low context culture is, opposite of a high context culture, no means no, and we're going to tell you what we feel, and a low context culture is going to just be very direct in how they deal with you. They value personal and vacation time. Okay, the Europeans, they take time for lunch, they take time for vacations, they want to go out with their families. They still value individual achievements and getting things done, but they're not quite the workaholics that we see in the United States and Canada. US and Canada also value the individual. They're also very low context. In the US, no means no. The US and Canada are very big on, we value youth and new things, constantly changing. We're both younger countries. The United States has always valued the newer, bigger, better, faster. That's all. The old way is bad, the new way is the way to go. And that's kind of how the United States does business and how our culture sees things. And the big thing business-wise with the United States and Canada, time is money. Okay, we mean 2 o'clock, we mean you need to be there at 1:55 so that 2 o'clock rolls around, you are set, ready to go. We need to get things done. We don't want to spend time building relationships with other companies or other people we're entering into partnerships with. We want to just seal the deal. The deal's done, boom, let's get that signature, move on, and start doing this. We want to make the money. So, summing it up, men and women communicate differently, and most communication is nonverbal. Some studies show up to 85-90% of communication is nonverbal communication. Different cultures communicate differently, but remember, there is no right way, okay? There's no right way to do any of this. So, and I put some of this stuff on your little cheat sheet that I passed out to you guys. And are there any questions? No. Awesome. Thank you for listening to my presentation, and I hope that it helps you out in your future endeavors.